Misty from Well Keeping Moms, and today I'm going to share with you how to make cleansing cloth. We have all different kinds of materials that we can make cleansing cloth out of. First of all, we have flannel, and I have a number of different kinds here. Some of them pre-cut from the last time I made them, which was a number of years ago now, so they do wear well. And I also have some smaller pieces that don't really look like they could be used for much, but I'm going to show you how to use up those small bits too. Then we have toweling material. Now, I had already cleaned out my old towels and given them to my husband to use in the shop. So you can just use an old towel that's just not looking so good anymore. It's seen better days. But because I have this, I'm going to go ahead and use this and show you how you can use a towel to create your cleansing cloth. Also, I have some cotton gauze. It's very lightweight and rather see-through there. But with this, if you use a little cotton batting, and I'll show you how to do that too, then you'll have a nice padded cleansing cloth. Also, you can use T-shirt material. Now, as you can see, this shirt has definitely seen better days. So I am very willing to cut this one up. T-shirt material, it's very soft. You would have to do more than 1 or 2 layers to have a nice thickness, but it's a readily available material. You don't have to go shopping to find an old T-shirt to cut up to use. My mother has actually been using old T-shirts that were getting ready to retire, and she would cut them up, and she's been using them to clean her house for years. Those are her rags, her cleaning cloth. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, I'm going to start with my pre-cut piece. Now, this can be used in many different ways. You can use this as a little hanky. I made some for my grandson when he has a runny nose or something. You can just grab a hanky, and I would recommend these more for allergies. If you have a cold, you don't really want to blow your nose in a hanky and just keep the germs in there. But it's great for allergies and that sort of thing. So because I have a serger, I'm going to go ahead and run it through the serger. And then I'll show you how to do it on the machine. Now you'll notice as I'm serging, I'm not stopping to cut the threads. What I do is I just fold them back on themselves and serge right over the top of that, and that will lock it, and I won't have to worry about those stitches after. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip the threads, and then I'll put a little fray check on it to keep it from unraveling. Okay, there we have it. Easy as can be, all done. Okay, if you don't have a serger, I'm going to show you now how to do this on the sewing machine. In order to do this on the sewing machine, I would put 2 pieces together, right sides facing. Okay, and it sticks together pretty well. You don't really need to pin it. And I'm going to start just beyond the center of one side. Okay, I'm going to lengthen my stitches just a touch. Leave the needle position where it is. Lock it. My piece isn't cut quite square, but that's okay, it's still gonna work. Okay, now we're back to the side that we started with. We're not going to go all the way to the stitches that started. We're going to leave a space so that we can turn it right side out. And don't forget to lock your stitches. Okay, now I'm going to turn it right side out after I snip the corners to make the corners nice and smooth when it's turned. Okay, here we have it, turned right side out. Now, if you find you're having a hard time getting your corners poked out to look nice and neat, you can just take your scissors and just pop it up in the corner. Now, we want to close this up. You can do that one of two ways. You can just stitch across there, top stitch. I like to do all the way around just because I like a neater finish. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I am going to change my needle position now. I'm going to put it all the way to the right. That will be sure to catch this. If I leave it in here, I may or may not get that, and then this will be open too far. Okay, there we go, all done. Okay, so here I have some little squares cut out of my flannel. Here's one of my squares I've already done. I've serged it, and I put the toweling on the back. Now you can do it with just the toweling. You can just cut it out and stitch around. You would need 2 layers in order to keep it from fraying and just creating a general mess around the edge. So you would need to do 2 layers, just like we did on the last one. With this, there's no right side or wrong side. So just 2 layers together. Don't forget to leave your opening to turn it and then stitch it shut. You can also do this. This is 2 layers of flannel and the toweling in the middle. That just makes it more absorbent. That would be good for like applying toner to your face or something. These would be great little cloths for applying toner. And here I'm going to show you how to use the gauze with the cotton batting. Now this is for absorbency as well. If you happen to have this and you don't have any towels that you want to cut up, I'm going to show you how you can use this as well. I'm going to go ahead and do it like we did the last one, where we put right sides together. Now again, this particular gauze has no right or wrong side. So I have cut out 2 pieces for each side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of the pieces of the gauze together on one side. And you'll see why when I get going here. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch it like I did the other, with leaving a space to turn it. Just make sure that when you turn it, you grab it between the 2 layers of gauze, because you want the gauze on both sides of the cotton batting. Okay, now that it's turned, I'm going to go ahead and top stitch around the outside. I'm going to lengthen my stitches because this is a lot of layers, and if I have tight stitches, it's just going to bunch up and it's not going to run through very smooth. You could also hand stitch across here. If you don't have a machine, you could certainly do all of this by hand. Okay, now that we have it stitched around the edges, we are also going to put a stitch from corner to corner, from edge to edge there, because this is batting, this isn't fabric, so you need to hold it together a little better. So we're just going to go ahead and run a stitch from corner to corner both ways. Okay, and there we go. Now this one probably could have been a little bigger. It just happened to be the size that I cut just for demonstration purposes. So, yep, you can cut them any size that you want. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do the t-shirt. I just made a 6x6 square. This is both layers together. I just laid the t-shirt out flat and cut a 6x6 square. Now, depending on what you're going to use them for, that would determine the size that you're going to make this. If you're going to use it as a hanky, then you could use a tissue for a pattern. And then just go ahead and lay the tissue out on the t-shirt and cut it out. If you want it more for a cleansing cloth, go ahead and cut it that size. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to show you how to do this with t-shirt. Now t-shirt material is wonderful because it does not fray. So this is probably the easiest thing to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half and I'm going to cut it. Okay, now that I've cut it, I'm going to fold it in half again, only I'm going to take only half of it at a time, because if you cut through too many layers at once, it just kind of makes a mess and they don't end up being the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these. Okay, now I have 2 sets with 4 layers. I like the 4 layers because it adds a lot of absorbency that way, especially when you're dealing with toner and that sort of thing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just stitch around. That's all it is. Because it doesn't fray, you don't have to serge it. You don't have to put right sides together and sew it and flip it. Okay, now, I wasn't too fussy about how I cut it out because at this point now, I can trim around the edge and get it as close to stitching as I want or as far away. But I can just clean that up, and then a t-shirt will do quite a few of these. So you can have quite a nice stash with just an old t-shirt. Now for flannel, what I have is just material that I've purchased, but there are other ways of finding flannel to work with. Some other things you can do is look through your linen closet. Maybe you have some flannel sheets that are getting kind of worn out or whatever. You can just cut up those flannel sheets and use those for your flannel. You can also use flannel pajamas. Got a pair that's wearing out, you don't think you're going to use them again next year, go ahead and cut them up and make some cloths for cleaning. You can use them for cleaning your face, you can use them for cleaning your body, you can use them for cleaning your house, you know, whatever you want. For the toweling, you can go to the fabric store and purchase it by the yard, or you can just find a worn out towel that's in your stash that you don't mind cutting up and using for this purpose. For the cotton gauze that we used on here, you can, of course, you can go to the store and purchase it. However, baby blankets are an excellent source for this. So many of them are made with very, very soft gauze material these days. So if you have a blanket or you go to a thrift store or something and they have one, go ahead and pick it up. They're great for using for this. So here we have what we've made. Double-sided, stitched on the sewing machine, single-sided, just with a serger, the cotton gauze, flannel with toweling, and the t-shirt fabric. Okay, now obviously you can make any of these in any size that you want. Let me just caution you though, if you are using new material that has not been washed before, you're going to want to wash your flannel first because it is coated, so you want to wash it and get that coating off, because when you put your water or your toner or whatever on it, it's just going to bead up. So you want to make sure you wash it and get that that coating off, that residue. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and hope you join me next time when I show you how to make a cleansing solution to use with your new cloths. Have a great day.